country as vast as a continent, with the largest population on Earth. A nation of contrasts. The eastern provinces are home to its most populated cities, with more people than the whole of the United States, the world's biggest ports, and the greatest manufacturer of goods on Earth. Its mountainous western border regions, ringed by both desert and ice. Bringing life to China's vast central interior are Asia's longest rivers. This unique aerial exploration of a diverse nation reveals unseen stories of tradition and modernity. China, a nation industrializing faster than any in human history. From China's ice-bound western fringes emerge Asia's longest rivers, the Yellow and the Yangtze, which journey through its great interior all the way to the eastern coast. These rivers are the lifeblood of central China, thought to be the traditional cultural heartland of the nation, where millions have a strong connection with their environment. Some of these agriculturally dominated regions are catching up with the coast's industrialization as they become more connected. Even the remote autonomous region of Tibet now has a rapidly developing capital city. Lhasa, meaning place of the gods, has been the center of the Tibetan Buddhist world for over a millennium. Built on the city's Mapori mountain is Potala Palace. Restored in 1645, 13 stories high, with over 1,000 rooms. It is still an important Buddhist site, with close to 1 million pilgrims a year. People from all over the region are preparing for one of their most important Buddhist festivals. In the village of Lamu, a few miles from Lhasa, Dava and his family are getting ready for tomorrow's events. The celebration of Buddha's descent from heaven back to earth. The festival kicks off with Tibetans painting their homes with a unique whitewash.
Yeah, 我们的这路过是，我们的呢，走的我们的路呀的，不然呀出去，我们这呢马、咱吧，这个路呀的，你不然呀出去呀去了。
The paint turns white as it dries, meaning purity and kindness. At over 4,000 meters above sea level, it's also the most practical choice for resisting the harsh UV radiation. Painting homes and temples is thought to draw Buddha from heaven back to earth. The next morning, Dava's grandmother is up early. The villagers then go on a short pilgrimage. Incense was once burnt to ward off bad luck after battle or hunting. It's now used as an offering to Buddha. Chanting and praying dominate the day.
가소라, 드리니, 많이自己准备呢。俺们的门不准不大开门说了哇，俺这里呢门的。
The procession takes them over hills, around temples, before ending at the local monastery.
春节了，新不啊？春节了呀，现在两个人能不能啊？瞧他们这样的，这个呢呀，点着什节他们这呢？瞧他们这，东南亚毛呗，俺们那么些。
Back in Lhasa, the festival is also in full swing, with crowds of people taking to the streets for an 8-kilometer pilgrimage known as the Lingko. After circling the ancient city, the pilgrims will descend on Lhasa's most sacred temple, Jokan, the heart of the city, marked by giant stone incense burners. This is a uniquely Tibetan festival, not celebrated by any other ethnic group in China. Tibetan culture remains strong in the region, despite an increase in migration from other parts of China in the last 30 years. New infrastructure means that Lhasa is no longer the isolated city it once was. The $4.2 billion railway now connects Tibet to the rest of China, crossing 2,000 kilometers of high-altitude plateau, over a quarter of it built on permafrost. One city on the upper Yangtze River is growing at breakneck speed and is practically unknown to the Western world. Chongqing. Located in the central southwest, this city is one of the largest municipalities in China. And it's still growing, laying down 18 hectares of floor space each day for a rapidly increasing population already tipping 34 million people. This ancient city has evolved over time around a challenging three-dimensional landscape. Its mountainous location requires an array of vertical transport solutions to move everyone efficiently around the city. Roads had to be built upwards to alleviate pressure at ground level. And it's not only roads that have gone skywards. Wang Yen has been a driver for the past 6 years on the world's largest monorail system.
都知道我们重庆是一座山城嘛，然后我们的地理的条件嘛，对我们单轨而言，在重庆的话是非常适用的。
Its 98-kilometer stretch of single rail weaves around the city, even threading through some buildings. Nian drives Route 2, known as the Scenic Line.
然后它给我们带来的不仅是交通的便利，也给外地游客可能觉得这是我们的一个特色。
Chongqing is a major manufacturing city and transport hub. Many global brands are moving here, where high-speed rail makes them just as efficient as their coastal counterparts. The city is now connected directly by China Railway Express to Germany, an almost 11,000-kilometer journey through 5 countries, taking less than half the time it would by sea, at a quarter of the cost of air. Chongqing's port is still vital to the movement of goods within China. It is connected to the east coast by the Yangtze River, a route that takes ships through another rapidly developing river city, Wuhan. Here once a year, their journey is halted as the city celebrates its river heritage with a spectacular event. Wuhan, with a population of 10 million people, is an important economic hub of China's interior, tied to the river that runs through it. And it's been popular with swimmers since the Song dynasty 1,000 years ago. The annual Wuhan River Crossing Festival is a swimming event that draws in crowds from all over China and beyond. The former Chinese leader, Chairman Mao, swam here in 1966 at the age of 73. And this unique festival is held in his honor. The heart of the event is the team crossing, where groups of up to 100 people navigate the fast-flowing waters. This year has brought over 5,000 entries and 51 teams. 61-year-old Ding Aijun first took part in 1977 and has swum 7 times since then.
那么我在游泳协会是身为会长，今年是带了53人到武汉来参加横渡长江测试。
This year is significant, as it's the first time that she'll compete with her husband, Bo.
原来呀，我没有游泳之前呢，跟他在一起呢，各有各的爱好。就是我原来呢，喜欢打的牌，那是项目的时间。他呢，一直都喜欢运动。这个游泳呢，把我们糅合在一起了。我们几乎可以说，只要他游泳，我就在一起。
横渡长江是我们最大的快乐，因为我游泳，我健康，我快乐。那么这种挑战自我，对我们来说，是一个非常难得的机会。
They join their team at the start line. There are no winners in this event. Instead, the goal is for the group to successfully make the crossing together. But swimming on a river of this power is not easy. It's an almost 6-kilometer route, made harder and longer by the strong currents.
今天是我们表现的最好、最棒的一次，大家都精神振奋，太兴奋了，太牛了！
They are now past the worst. Eventually, the whole team finished together.
漂流我漂了几次，有点紧张。那一天的水温可能还低一点，可能那个换气啊还不是蛮顺。
实际上是第8次横渡长江，我没有紧张的感觉，但是我有一种兴奋的感觉，跟我丈夫在一起横渡长江。
This sporting challenge dates back over 80 years, established in 1934. In one Tibetan village, a far older sporting event is still central to community life. Archery. The event takes place in the valley of the Gongbu people, around the largest primitive forest in China. The Gongbu ethnic group differ from those living in other parts of the Tibetan Autonomous Region. They have their own dialect, traditions, and pastimes. As autumn sets in, the Gongbu community like to celebrate with a favorite sport. Qi Jia has been an archer for 36 years. Today, his village team is taking part in a local tournament. It's both a social occasion and a chance to show off some archery skills. The men come well prepared for the event. This ancient sport has been updated for modern times. The competition has its own unique Gongbu flavor, often referred to as the screaming arrow. A traditional fabric bullseye hangs 30 meters away. Qi Jia's village is performing well. Hunting animals with arrows was once crucial to survival here, especially during the brutally harsh winters. But now, archery is reserved for sport. And it's an opportunity for scattered communities to get together. Eventually, the competition comes down to the wire. Qi Jia's final shot seals the deal. His team are the victors. "800 kilometers southeast on China's southern border lies the world's most famous peak, Everest, where a more extreme sport, mountaineering, attracts people from across the globe. Lifted up in the same geological event that created Tibet's plateau, the Himalayas contain over 110 mountains across 5 countries, including China. Climbers from all over the world attempt its highest point, the summit of Mount Everest, situated at 8,848 meters. It's almost the height of a cruising jetliner, where the oxygen is a third of what we breathe at sea level. Historically, most climbers try to summit up the south face in Nepal, but more are now ascending from Tibet, up Everest's north face, as China opens up this route, making it more accessible to climbers. It's now possible to drive all the way to base camp. This year's main climbing season is drawing to a close. But a select group remains at Tibet's northern base camp. Pema Chinle is an Everest veteran. He's preparing for one of the most important climbs of the season, Operation Cleanup.
以往的话，我自己过来登山的时候，那我的目标纯粹是过来登山的。然后这一次带着一颗感恩的心吧，到珠穆朗玛峰，然后清洁一下珠穆朗玛。
But the job is too big to manage alone. The team needs some extra muscle power from local Sherpas and their most revered beast of burden, the yak, essential to the people living here. Its red blood cells have evolved to extract more oxygen from the depleted air. Together they will follow the route to advanced base camp, collecting rubbish and equipment left behind. As the North Face gains popularity, more items are strewn along the way. Even discarded food can't break down in temperatures that reach as low as -35 Celsius.
去得很早，但是今天天气也不好啊，在山里面下雪，暴风雪。但是我们一路上捡了很多垃圾，像这种啊，咱们国内可以买得到。像这种的话，它就是尼泊尔产的。这种本身降解的话特别困难。
This annual cleanup event is on a larger scale than ever before, with a team of 150 yaks, each carrying 45 kilograms. Over several days, 4.5 tons of waste is collected, more than any other year.
但是效果是挺好的，通过这次活动，垃圾清理得很干净。
The cleanup is in keeping with the Tibetan philosophy of living in harmony with nature. At lower altitudes, a Chinese team is exploring a very different world. An ancient city hidden underwater. China's Atlantis. In Zhejiang province, in the eastern reaches of its interior, lies a lake containing over 1,000 islands. But this is a man-made wonder. The lake is only 60 years old and was created during construction of one of China's early hydropower plants. One of the first steps towards their now rapid economic development. These islands are actually the tops of hills, a clue to what lies submerged below. Lou Shanliang was one of the first people to venture into this unique underwater world.
生活打小就是在水边上长大啊，打小就在千岛湖这个游泳啊、划船啊、捕鱼啊，那么应该说对这个水呢还是蛮有感情的啊。 是另外一番世界啊。
Today he has teamed up with cameraman Wu Lixin to use 3D scanning technology to bring to life an ancient city in ways not seen before. But first, they need to find it in the deep, opaque waters.
所以在水下找东西都很难，就是有的时候经常能见度差的话。 这东西离你不到2米的距离，你有可能就擦肩而过，找不到它。所以在水面上多花一些时间，我们用现在手里头现有的仪器，比如说声呐扫描啊等等，然后最后再精准定位。
然后那我们再跑2趟，再看一看。
Diving to the depths of this lake comes with its challenges.
对你的心理素质是一个很大的考验啊。应该说，在一片漆黑、又冷又没有声音，然后还是这个千岛湖水底下就跟月球上一样，就是看不到什么生命的迹象，所以这还是蛮恐怖的，就是。
At last, after descending almost 40 meters, they find what they've been searching for. 1,000-year-old Xicheng, or Lion City. When the valley was flooded to create the reservoir for the dam, the ancient city was lost to the depths, along with lots of towns and villages. This will be the first time it's been captured three-dimensionally.
我们必须要围着这个，比如说拍摄体，比如说我要全数据的话，我就必须围着它，从不同的角度多张拍摄，然后把这些拍摄的照片输入到这个程序当中。
Computer software converts these photos into a 3D image. Once an opulent city and the political and economic hub for eastern China, it now lays remarkably well preserved in the fresh water.
所以也希望通过我们的拍摄，通过我们的这个探摸研究，能够把更多的这个淹没在水下的这些历史遗迹以及这些历史遗迹背后的那些故事挖掘出来。
Since this pioneering hydropower plant was built, more have been constructed rapidly. 45,000 have been created, along with almost 100,000 dams on China's rivers. Displacement of people may be a high price to pay for hydroelectricity, but these plants produce 333 million kilowatts of electricity from a renewable energy source. China has a long history of harnessing its waterways. Further to the north, some unusual methods are used to monitor one of the planet's most volatile and dangerous rivers. The Yellow River is vital for life in the arid north. Once the cradle of China's earliest civilization, it now provides water to 155 million people. It irrigates over 20 million hectares of farmland. But this is a river with a reputation and prone to devastating floods. New arrival Jing Jingpo is learning the ropes at this isolated Yellow River monitoring station. The hydrologist's role here is to provide daily updates to hydropower stations and dams further down the Yellow River, so called because of the enormous amounts of sediment carried in its flow. But collecting that information relies on nerves of steel and a time-tested cable car. One of Jingpo's main tasks is to determine how much sand and silt is carried in the river.
测验方面，取出沙率啊，可能会取个10几次的那种，一年都是很正常的，是一些水性暴汛，因为你测验任务多，可能暴汛次数就要多。
This method of data collection sometimes happens at night or during severe weather, a steep learning curve for the new recruit. The research facilities and living quarters are perched on a cliff. Their cable car is the only link to the outside world, something Jingpo is coming to terms with.
刚来这儿报道的时候，看到这儿的环境也是挺吃惊的，毕竟也没有见到过这么像人，就是条件非常艰苦吧，还要，但是慢慢的就是站上特别就是师傅也是特别关心，领导也关心我们，就是帮助啊什么的，然后就很快就适应了这个环境了。
This river makes life in northern China possible, allowing its people to grow crops in a place that receives little rain. On the fringes of the Gobi Desert, a green oasis stretches for kilometers. Perfect conditions for grape growing. China's Ningxia province is now the second largest wine-producing region in the world. 40,000 hectares of vines are taking over the once dry landscape. Silver Heights Winery is one of the Chinese pioneers in a region now making a name for itself internationally. Harvesting is underway, a crucial time for Chinese winemaker Emma Gou.
然后到采收的时候呢，我们也是会用到60到70位机械工来采收，手工采收葡萄啊，然后以最快的速度呢，把这些好的葡萄用到我们车间里面，我们去加工做葡萄酒。
After studying winemaking in Bordeaux in France, she planted her first winery in Yinchuan City with the help of her family.
因为毕竟刚开始做这个事情，也不知道能不能成功，是否能够养活的，是否能糊口嘛。
Her belief in these desert soils was inspired by her father, who grew eating grapes in this region.
那他就觉得说，宁夏未来会酿出好酒。他就是想做中国最好的葡萄酒，宁夏好的葡萄酒，让世人知道我们家乡有这样一个潜力。
10 years on, it's expanded from its city base and is now producing 63,000 bottles of wine a year. But it's a challenge to grow quality vines in this dry region. Underground bores and water from the Yellow River is used sparingly.
我们这里是非常干旱的，我们一年降雨量是200毫升，而这个蒸发量是1600毫升，所以我们必须得用一种滴灌的系统。
Winemaking is still an emerging industry, but farming arid land in China's north is nothing new. Reminders of this region's ancient civilization are evident by 110,000 Buddhist statues. Along both sides of China's Yi River are limestone caves called grottos, containing many thousands of statues carved over hundreds of years. These are some of China's earliest Buddhist temples, located just south of the ancient capital of Luoyang. There are 2,345 caves containing almost 110,000 statues, ranging from almost 2 centimeters to 17 meters in height. Ho Wu-ke is part of the restoration team.
可以说世界雕刻艺术史上的一个巅峰之作，因为龙门石窟呢，从开凿到现在已经经过了1500多年的历史，由于自然的风化和人为的破坏呢，可以说很多都是残手断臂的。所以说呢，这个保护对我们来说是现在面临一个非常大的一个挑战。
Wu-ke's team are working on one of the many statues that have been damaged, and 21st century digital technology is being used to help. Using a digital scanner, they will create a 3-dimensional copy.
数字化的技术运用到文物保护工作中呢，为我们提供了很大的方便。我们现在的龙门石窟呢，正在进行3维数字化的扫描工作，已经收集了大量的原始数据。我们将来可以利用这个数据呢，进行文物的修复。
This technique can pinpoint vulnerable areas for restoration efforts, and it can even help to fill in missing pieces. The degrading environmental effects of a site open to the elements is inescapable, even with restoration techniques. Modern digital technology brings to life a unique piece of China's history for future generations to enjoy. In China's subtropical south, some much older remains are being restored that predate even China's ancient civilization. Yunnan province in China's southwest is home to more types of forest than any other, including one without any trees. Yuanmao Earth Forest is made up of spires of clay sculpted from sandstone over millions of years by weathering. Perhaps the most significant thing about the rocks here is what they contain. Prehistoric clues about the creatures that once lived here. Hunan province is packed full of dinosaur remains. It's one of the world's hottest locations for Jurassic-era discoveries, with over 1,000 dinosaur fossils being unearthed since 1938. Especially here in Lufeng County, the location of China's dinosaur geopark. Mr. Wang has been working with fossils for 30 years. He's been busy, as discoveries are unearthed every few weeks.
这块化石呢，是一个登山爱好者，他们从这边登山爬山的时候发现。我们今天呢，主要是这个登山队员呢给我们提供了这个信息，然后呢，我们到了这个地点，今天找到了这个化石。我们找到这个化石，也像寻宝一样才把它找到。
This fossil belongs to an appropriately named Lufengosaurus, first found in the Lufeng region. There are now 76 complete specimens of this plant-eating species.
还有小腿，它的很长，大概在80公分左右。然后呢，它的体型应该是在10米左右。它生长在侏罗纪早期1.8亿年的年代。
Lufeng is also home to its own Jurassic Park, where discoveries are put on display for Chinese tourists. Built in 2008, this 10,000 square meters exhibition center restores the bones on site. It's now one of the largest displays of fossils in the world, with 70 sets of restored and mounted dinosaur skeletons.
就是我们在野外发掘一具恐龙化石回来的话，第一点呢，就是化石运到修理室里面呢，就要开始修复。修复呢，主要是要把那个化石表面这些岩石啊，要慢慢的给修干净。
The soft rock in Lufeng and the heavy monsoon rains means that this fossil treasure trove is regularly exposed. Huinan's soft hills are dissected by the Yangtze River, the longest in Asia. It flows eastwards through Chongqing and Wuhan, draining out in the East China Sea, over 2,000 kilometers away. Here is the meeting point of one of the world's busiest inland waterways and the largest port on the planet. The mouth of the river is also the location of China's most populated city, Shanghai. Ships not only arrive from deep inland, but also from around the world, facilitating China's great economic boom. Due to all this activity, accidents in this estuary are common. To help in emergencies is a dedicated helicopter rescue team who are on call 24 hours a day. It's 90 strong with 22 pilots, including Wan Chou-wan, one of 2 females in this crucial role.
今年是我从事这个工作的第10年。然后我大概救助了100人左右。
Today is a training drill for this team of 4. who prepare to fly out to the mouth of the Yangtze.
你好，101，我们还有3分钟可以抵达你的上空。
They spend more time on training runs than rescues, so that when an emergency occurs, everyone in the team is well prepared.
因为这个海上救助啊，它是一个，可以说是一个整体性的这样的一个工作。我们需要前后舱紧密的配合，才能安全有效地完成各种救助任务。那么，为了保证这样的一个紧密配合，我们平时也是花了很多的大量的时间和精力来进行相应的科目的训练，从而保证我们在真正出动的时候可以做到井然有序地开展这个救助工作。
Training can't prepare for every eventuality, and things in this stretch of water have a habit of being unpredictable.
基本上，我们现在遇到的这个救助啊，主要是渔民受伤或者是这个船舶的，或者大部分是渔船，因为它们比较小，容易受这个风浪的影响，渔船翻扣，那么人员失踪，这个是我们我们所做的这个救助比例中，占的这个比例是最大的。
It will only take 20 minutes to reach the safety boat with today's victim. Although he's made entirely out of plastic, the pressure is still on to perform for the two in the back of the aircraft.
那么，空勤员中，其中1名是绞车手，就是负责操作这个绞车。 另外1名是救生员，他是具体负责下到船上或者是水中进行救援的这样一个角色。
She needs to keep the helicopter in a steady hover. The lifeguard is lowered 30 meters onto the rescue craft, where the victim awaits.
一个当然就是我们通过这个训练可以加强我们飞行员然后空勤员的一个技能操作能力，另外一个也是增加这样一个飞行的经验。那么我觉得就像运动员一样，就是台上1分钟，台下10年功，我觉得是一个道理。
After a hard day's work, the crew wind down with a game of basketball, not just to keep fit, but for team bonding as well.
我觉得我们这个在一起打篮球，一方面是可以递增我们之间的这个队员之间友谊，一方面也是加强一些这种协作吧。
There's plenty of work for the team, as the waterways here are extremely busy. Container ships dominate the shipping lanes, and the largest of all are built right here. Covering an area of 5 million square meters is Gaoqiao, one of the biggest shipbuilders in the world. This 8,000-strong Chinese company design and build a variety of ships. And they're now processing one of their largest orders to date. 11 of the biggest container ships in the world. Shu Jian is one of the team of over 70 designers.
我感觉上，我所设计的区域应该是心脏吧，因为我设计的是动力，如果没有动力的话，这个船就不能走。
Design is an ongoing process, and small tweaks and tests are often required during construction.
让里面做的这个空间合理化利用好，这是我的主要的目的。
Deadlines loom. The pressure is on. Wu Kang-yi is the hoisting manager, responsible for the positioning of huge pieces of steel weighing up to 780 tons, as much as 150 elephants.
下屋开始到目前为止，搭载到建造到这个程度的话，只用了，已经搭载了2/3的分段。那我们的目标计划呢，是在40天以内，把整条船的主甲板贯通。
To achieve the 4-month building target, the ship is designed to be assembled like giant Lego. 2 544-ton gantry cranes are used over 500 times to hoist these sections into place.
小马，后续这个分段吊装要注意一下啊，这个1号钩和2号钩的旋转吊牌要保持水平啊。
收到，胡工，收到，胡工，后面会注意。
然后，只要看到这个分段、总段能够很平稳、很安全的吊装到位的话，那我是感觉这个过程是非常享受的。
The first finished vessel is almost 400 meters long, 30 meters tall, and is capable of carrying 20,000 steel containers.
设计这条船从开始到有，感觉有点像是冲关游戏啊，就是从开始从无到有，一关一关打大 boss 结束，到最后交付这条船，就是我的大 boss 全部结束了。
It's time to move it out of the dock for testing. It takes 6 tugs 3 hours to travel 700 meters into the main channel. Here it will remain for 6 months, while engineers check all its mechanical and electrical fittings ready for service, before it joins the rest of China's fleet of over 300 container ships. Together they carry over 1.7 million containers on the world's oceans, driving the fastest growing economy on Earth. China, a nation of enormous contrasts. A country overcoming great geographic and climatic barriers. From its far-flung western mountainous borderlands to its urbanized coastline, home to the most populous cities in China. In between are the great heartlands of central China, a melting pot of ethnicities where traditions meet modernity. Ultimately, China's great center is a place where urban and rural communities together face up to the challenges of a changing world in the 21st century.